Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about patch 10.2 Guardians of the Dream and everything that is coming in this patch. This is potentially the last major patch of Dragonflight and has a ton of brand new features, of course, as you'd expect with a patch like this. But before we jump into everything coming in patch 10.2, just want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, Dragonflight, Dragonflight PTR and more, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. Right, so yes, patch 10.2 Guardians of the Dream is launching extremely soon. It launches on November 7th in the NA region and November 8th in the EU. This is the second major patch of Dragonflight and it has everything that you expect from a major patch in World of Warcraft. So let's jump into all of the features because there's a lot coming in this patch. So first and foremost, of course, we have a brand new zone. We are going to the Emerald Dream. Now, previously we've kind of dabbled in the Emerald Dream, kind of through the Druid Order Hall and things like that. But in patch 10.2, we are going to the real Emerald Dream, which is located to the left-hand side of the Anaran Plains on the map. To get there, you just have to go through a portal in the Anaran Plains, or there's a handy portal in Valdrakken, which is going to save you a lot of time. As you'd expect with a brand new zone in Dragonflight, we do have a brand new renown track. This is the Dream Wardens. So the Dream Wardens are a new renown in 10.2. They are the defenders of the Emerald Dream and the World Tree Amirdrassil. Of course, you could expect 20 levels of renown here with various different rewards from mounts to transmog, to titles and things like that, and things involving the Emerald Dream zone. But yeah, a pretty standard renown as you'd expect. If you're interested in a guide to this renown and reputation, I do have a video on the channel which I'll link below. Also in the Emerald Dream is a new world event. This is a Super Bloom event. This is similar to your Time Rifts, your Soups, your Sieges, and things like that. This involves a big Ent called Spruce Crown, and basically you have to assist him as he walks around the Emerald Dream, of course defending him and clicking various things around him to gain Bloom, which is very similar to your Time Rift event there. There's going to be various rewards from this as well, including gear and, of course, reputation. If you want to know more about the Super Bloom event and a bit of a deep dive into the system, I do have a video on the channel as well, so I'll link that below. As you'd expect, we also have some story and side quests available in this zone. I believe there's about 6 chapters or so in the Emerald Dream. Some of them will be gated by time, like with the release of the raid and things like that. But yeah, your kind of standard story chapters will be available, complete with cutscenes and voice acting and things like that, and also a bunch of side quests. I believe there's 9 side quests or something like that in total, including a really fun story with the Netherwing and the Storm Drakes involving Rathian and Viranov, so that's one of the better ones. But yeah, there's a ton of fun little side quests which give a bit more details and information about the Emerald Dream zone, which are always good. As well, going into Season 3, we will have a new world boss called Urustar the Hibernating. He'll be located in the Emerald Dream, and of course will drop loot appropriate to that season. And of course, for you race enthusiasts out there, we will have some new dragon riding races in the Emerald Dream. 6 races to be exact, all available in normal, advanced, reverse, challenge, and reverse challenge from the get-go. There are 2 rewards from this, so you have the title Dream Racer for completing gold on normal, advanced, and reverse, and then you have the title Emerald Ace for completing gold on challenge and reverse challenge. But for the most part, the Emerald Dream is your standard Dragonflight zone. Expect rares and loot and transmog and mounts and all that kind of stuff from this zone. The aesthetic of it is very much like Ardenweald or Val'sharah, things like that, and that is by design, obviously, because those zones are inspired by the Emerald Dream, but it is really nice that we are finally going there, and the zone seems pretty big as well. So yeah, it's not too bad, and of course you can dragon ride here as you'd expect, which is a perfect segue to talk about Dragonriding updates. There are a bunch of Dragonriding updates coming in 10.2. So with the Emerald Dream Zone, we are getting 8 new glyphs across the zone, so you will be able to fly around and find those. Of course, there'll be a guide straight from the get-go, but, you know, it is a lot more fun just to actively fly around the zone and explore and find these glyphs for yourself. So I highly recommend doing that. Of course, with 8 new glyphs, we're going to have some points for our dragon riding talent tree. There are 3 new abilities. 1 is an active ability, and 2 of them are passive. The active ability is called Second Wind. This is an ability that has 3 charges with a 3-minute cooldown. So with this, it's essentially a vigor recharge every time you tap it. So it says reach within the untapped reserves and instantly generate 1 vigor. So this is really cool, really handy for people who struggle with dragon riding as well. You just literally can click this and you'll instantly get 1 vigor up to 3, depending on how many charges you've got. Now, the bad thing here is that it will not be available during races, so you can't use it to kind of cheese any of the races, unfortunately, but it will definitely be a handy ability for when you're in the outside world. The next ability is Swift Skimming. This is a passive ability. This says that ground skimming can now occur while affected by Thrill of the Skies. And the final one is Wind's Respite. It says, after activating Aerial Halt, experience a moment of weightlessness as the effects of gravity are reduced for 4 seconds. So this is kind of like a pseudo hover of sorts. Not really sure who's going to use this, but yeah, you kind of have a bit more of a hover with Aerial Halt in 10.2. Moving on to new drakes and customizations and things of that nature, we have a new drake in 10.2 called the Flourishing Whimsydrake. This is inspired by the fairy drakes of the Emerald Dream, but it is a very big version of it. This is actually obtained through the first quest of 10.2. Of course, you could expect a full customization toolkit with this new mount, including scale colors, snout shapes, things like that. All of these are going to come from either the Renown of the Dream Wardens or just around the Emerald Dream. So a lot to collect for your Flourishing Whimsydrake in 10.2. Also as well, the Grotto Netherwing Drake, the mount from the trading post, will also be available to other players who didn't obtain it during that time. This will now be obtained through the previously mentioned Rathian and Virenov quest for players who didn't complete the trading post when it was available. But also what's new with this mount in 10.2 is that they've enabled customizations. So you can now customize this Drake to how you like, with new skin colors, tail shapes, armor, things like that are going to be available for your Netherwind Drake. These will also be available through the Emerald Dream and various renowns and things like that. So keep an eye out for where those customizations are from. Of course, it will say on the barbershop. But yeah, Grotto Netherwing Drake getting a really nice glow up in 10.2. Finally, in regards to new mounts in 10.2, we're getting our very first non-dragon Dragonriding mount in the form of a Nurelos Flames Guardian. This actually drops from Mythic Farak only in the new raid. This is one of the new owl models of the Emerald Dream, and this is going to be a dragon riding mount. There's no customizations for this, but you will be able to ride this around the Dragon Isles as you would any other dragon riding mount, so that's very exciting. Also, getting this mount will unlock a custom Druid flight form. So if you play a Druid and you get this mount, expect a really fun flight form as well. Also from the raid, you can expect 2 brand new full transformations for the renewed Proto Drake. So we have the regular Farak skin. This is going to be available on all difficulties. This will transform your Proto Drake into a Farak looking mount, which looks absolutely phenomenal. But also with Ahead of the Curve, which is completed on Heroic, you will get a special Shadow Flame Farak for your Proto Drake. So 2 brand new customizations for the Proto Drake coming from the raid. And finally, sticking with customizations for Dragon Riding Drakes, it was recently confirmed that we are getting white scales for our Dragon Riding Drakes. Now, this was data mined back in 10.0, so yes, this will be available in 10.2 through the tier questline. I believe it's the final part of the tier questline, so make sure you're keeping up with that, and the final reward from that will be white scales for our Drakes. So we're finally getting it. It doesn't seem like a debate this time. We're actually going to get it, which is super cool. And finally, with flying and dragon riding, things like that, we are getting Dragon Isles Pathfinder in 10.2. Now, completing this achievement will give you the ability to fly your regular flying mounts in the Dragon Isles, the Zeralak Cavern, and the new Emerald Dream Zone. This is an account-wide unlock and does indeed affect Druid flight form. So Druids, you can now fly on your flight form once you have Dragon Isles Pathfinder unlocked. Now, the good thing here is that it's really not too bad to unlock. The requirements for this are simply just to complete the story quests in the Dragon Isles zones and the Zeralak Cavern, explore the Dragon Isles, the Zeralak Cavern, and the Emerald Dream, and obtain at least 15 renown with all of the Dragonflight major factions, including the Dream Wardens. So yeah, basically you could do all of the requirements right now, and then the final requirement for you will be to get 15 renown with the Dream Wardens. So make sure you're kind of up to date with that, and unlocking that achievement will give you just regular flying, and you'll have the choice either to dragon ride or ride on your regular flying mounts in those zones, which is really cool. Just as a tidbit as well, this does not affect the random mount button. The random mount button will automatically put you on a dragon riding mount in those zones, even if you have Pathfinder unlocked. So yeah, that's good. Of course, just like any major patch in World of Warcraft, we have a ton of class changes. Now, I'm not qualified to go through all of these or talk about them, but I'll put the patch notes below for you to go through your specific class and see what changes are coming for you. But yeah, some classes are getting some pretty major changes in this patch. Alright, so completely switching it up now, Season 3 will be coming in 10.2. Now, Season 3 starts 1 week after the patch launches on November 14th and November 15th, depending on your region. Of course, we have the standard additions you'd expect from any Dragonflight season. So firstly, Mythic Plus will be getting a bit of a change, with the dungeon pool being updated to 8 brand new dungeons. So in the new Season 3 dungeon pool, we have Dawn of the Infinites Galakron's Fall, Dawn of the Infinites Morazan's Rise, Waycrest Manor from Battle for Azeroth, Atul Dazar from Battle for Azeroth, Darkheart Thicket from Legion, Blackrock Hold from Legion, the Everbloom from Warlords of Draenor, and Throne of the Tides from the Cataclysm. So 8 new dungeons to kind of sink your teeth into. Of course, you can expect these standard rewards like Keystone Master and Keystone Hero through the new Mythic Plus system. Also as well, with a new patch and new season, we are getting a new raid. This is Amirdrassil, the Dream's Hope. Now this is a new 9-boss raid, including some really interesting encounters, including one with Smolderon, the Flame Lord, and one that actually uses dragon riding during the fight. So yeah, that fight is super fun. The final boss of this raid is Farak the Blazing, so expect a big showdown with Farak on top of the World Tree of Amirdrassil. Notable drops from this are, of course, as mentioned, the Mythic Mount, and of course the customizations, but also a 2-handed Strength Legendary Axe, which will be available for Death Knights, Paladins, and Warriors. So we don't really know too much about this right now, we just know what it looks like, and it looks very cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works, obviously, once the patch launches. The release schedule for this raid is as follows. On the first week of Season 2, you can expect Raid Finder Wing 1, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic. 1 week later, we'll have the second wing of Raid Finder opening. A week after that, we can expect the third wing of Raid Finder, and then 2 weeks after that, the fourth wing of Raid Finder will be open. So they're kind of speeding up the release of Raid Finder this time around. Of course, once again, they are releasing Normal, Heroic, and Mythic on day 1 of the season. So yeah, Amirdrassil, the Dream's Hope is going to be the new raid of 10.2, and I'm looking forward to the Race to World first this time. I think it's going to be super interesting. Also in Season 3, they are updating the loot rewards from the world events around the Dragon Isles and the Zeralak Cavern. This includes World Quests, Dragonbane Keep, Centaur Hunts, Farak Assaults, Researchers Under Fire, Time Rifts, Dream Surges, and these will reward Season 3 Adventurer gear through the weekly quests, and then on repeat goes, you'll get Season 3 Explorer gear. Also worth noting, of course, the gearing system and the upgrade system are returning in Season 3. Pretty much the same this time, still using Flightstones. However, the crests will now go in the currency tab instead of your bag. So that's a massive win there for sure. The previous crests will now become vendor trash as well. So yeah, don't save those up. They will be going away in 10.2. Also sticking with older gear, the old upgradable gear will now be indicated on the tooltip, which is a nice addition there. So if it's from Season 2, it will indicate that it is Season 2 and upgradable. Of course, getting Season 3 gear will make it just upgradable through Flightstones if you do want to get that just for the transmog, but for the most part, yeah, most of this gear is going to get replaced pretty quickly. And finally, we're getting a huge change to the Great Vault. So now the Mythic Dungeon row has been renamed to Dungeons. Now the reason for this is that in Season 3, Heroic, Mythic 0, and Time Walking Dungeons will now unlock rewards on the Great Vault. Now these rewards will draw from the same reward pool as the Mythic Plus items, but of course with lower item levels, and Time Walking Dungeons will count as Heroic. So a massive change there for players who are doing Heroics and Mythic Zeros and Time Walking Dungeons. You can now get rewards from the Great Vault every week. So yeah, look forward to that. Also coming in patch 10.2 is a new Battleground Brawl. This is called Battleground Blitz. Now this is actually a testing ground for solo or duo queue rated battlegrounds. So the description for this is that players will be able to queue either solo or duo if one player is a healer for epic 8v8 PvP action in Fast and Furious action on one of 8 initially available maps: Wilson Gulch, Twin Peaks, Temple of Kot Mogu, Eye of the Storm, Silver Shard Mines, Battle for Gilneas, Rathi Basin, and Deepwing Gorge. The Battleground Blitz will be active as an available brawl every week from the time of its release on November 7th, or 8th, depending on your region. So this is, as mentioned, the testing ground for a rated Battleground solo queue. Obviously, we got Solo Shuffle back in Shadowlands, which eventually turned into a fully rated thing. So basically, if this works out, we will be getting a solo queue rated Battleground system in the next expansion, potentially. So yeah, very exciting there. Make sure you do it. It seems like a lot of fun. I haven't personally tested it out on the PTR, but yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. So some other changes coming in 10.2 is that Blood Elves are getting some new customizations in the form of 4 new hair colors. Yeah, they added it to the roadmap, and we were kind of expecting a little bit more, but no, we got 4 new hair colors for the Blood Elves coming in 10.2, so yeah, look forward to those. Druids. Yes, Druids are getting some awesome changes in 10.2. So they have a bunch of new forms which have been added through the Emerald Dream, which are just kind of versions of the Emerald Dream creatures for Druid forms. So those are super cool. We expect to unlock those through various activities in the Emerald Dream. Now, what's really cool here as well is now in the barbershop, all of the available forms will be shown and with their unlock locations. So if you're trying to find a random form from old, it now should tell you where to go find that, which is really cool. And finally with Druids, you are going to get a full customization kit for your Moonkins. This is actually awesome. The customization level here is phenomenal, and all of it, apart from kind of a fiery customization, will be unlocked from the get-go. So yeah, if you're a balanced druid, expect some really fun customizations for your Moonkin. But if you do want to play your race-specific Moonkin form, that will be available to you as well, so don't worry too much about that. But a lot of great changes to druids coming in 10.2. So some minor changes coming in 10.2 are also additions to the edit mode. So the micro menu can now be resized to be smaller than the default. So yeah, previously you could only make it larger, but now if you like, you can make it smaller. There's also some really great accessibility options coming in 10.2. So there's a new mount section, which includes settings to better control dragon riding using a keyboard. So you now have the option for pitch control. So players can now set their move forward and move backward keys to control the pitch while dragon riding. You can set the sensitivity of these keybinds and their debouncing behavior when transitioning between dragon riding and grounded. And this new mount section in the interface options will also include all of the previous accessibility options for your dragon riding. Also as well, with accessibility, the quest log will now get the choice of contrast colors if that is something you'd like to use. There's a couple of options here which will also change the gossip text boxes and things like that across the entire game. So you have the first option, which is light 1, you have the second option, which is light 2, you have the third option, which is light 3, and the final option is dark. I really like the dark mode, actually. And of course, as you'd expect, you can also turn this off if you do like the standard coloration of your quest log. Also a nice change for people that enjoy world PvP, but also enjoy transmog. Is that a thing? I don't know. Anyway, in 10.2, you will now be able to buy the old World PvP armor and weapon ensembles from a vendor in Valdrakken. Now, the weapons will set you back 800 bloody tokens, and for each armor set, it will set you back 3,000 bloody tokens. So those old armor set transmogs will be available to you if you don't already have them. Kind of sticking with PvP here, there's also going to be the new option to send 1,500 honor to alts for the cost of 2,000. Now, this is an account-bound token which can be purchased from the vendor in Valdrakken. Unfortunately, you can't just buy this token, go to a random zone and unlock the PvP achievement. Trust me, I tried, it didn't work, they broke it. But yes, you now can send honor to alts if you've got a stock of honor on a character you don't use. That could be sent over to different alts. So account-wide honor? Kind of, I guess. Speaking of account-wide tokens, the renowned vendors of Dragonflight, apart from the Dream Wardens, will now sell an account-bound token which gives 50 reputation. The price of this is 150 Flightstones, so it's going to set you back quite a lot to just get 50 reputation on your ults. Now, this probably should have been 200 or 500 or something like that for 150 Flightstones, but if this is something you want to buy, it will be available from all of the renowned vendors, including the Lone Niffin, but not the Dream Wardens. So sticking with Renown, the weekly Aiding the Accord quest in Valdrakken is getting some changes. So now when you pick up the quest, you'll have a choice between different activities. Now these could be things like world quests or different world events and things like that. This will rotate every single week. So when you go to pick up that quest, you'll get a nice choice between two things you'd like to do. If you pick one and you don't want to do that, you can abandon it and pick it up again. But unfortunately, this quest has not been updated to include any of the new reps. So the Niffin and the Dream Wardens will not be included in the weekly Aiding the Accord quest, at least as of the recording of this video. And finally, the best for last, the biggest change of 10.2, the most massive, incredible, crazy change of 10.2 is class trials will now start in front of Rathian for the Alliance and Abyssian for the Horde. Right, that is everything coming in patch 10.2, guys. Let me know down below what you think of 10.2 Guardians of the Dream. Of course, your standard Dragonflight patch, potentially the last major patch of Dragonflight. Will we be in the Emerald Dream until the next expansion? I guess we'll find out very, very soon with BlizzCon coming up. But yeah, let me know down below what you think of the patch, of course. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I always have a new patch in World of Warcraft. Of course, we have a ton of stuff to do for all different types of players. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But guys, thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, please do leave a like in it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to support me outside of YouTube, I'm also on Patreon and I'm on Twitter at MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. And as mentioned, I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, Dragonflight PTR, and more, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.